Is it possible to live without money? Mark Boyle did just that, and he documented his journey along the way.
Obviously, what I done was quite extreme for most people. Most people won't want to go completely moneyless, but I think we would all benefit from reducing the reliance on money in our lives.
The Moneyless Manifesto, Live Well, Live Rich, Live Free. Interview with Mark Boyle, Part 1 of 3. Continue watching to find out more. We are delighted to have you join us for Part 1 of our 3-part series entitled The Moneyless Manifesto, Live Well, Live Rich, Live Free. Interview with Mark Boyle. Do you think you could live without money? Well, Irishman Mark Boyle did just that, living in a gifted caravan in England and cycling everywhere. Mark's journey began in 2008, starting symbolically on Buy Nothing Day, an annual day for people to celebrate not buying anything. In his book, The Moneyless Manifesto, Live Well, Live Rich, Live Free, published in 2012, Mark Boyle shares how we can live without money in a world driven by the relentless need to make more and more. Pulling from his own experiences of living 3 years as the moneyless man, Mark gives his thought-provoking perspectives on the world's economy and our own ecological footprints. With a witty, engaging style, The Moneyless Manifesto is a motivating and informative book that will guide readers on their own journeys to leading simpler, more fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. Today, we are fortunate and honoured to have Mark Boyle with us on our programme to share his story.
Yeah, my name's Mark Boyle. Going back a bit, I gave up money for originally a 1-year experiment. Ended up being so good that I lived for 3 years without money. I'd come from a kind of a business and economics perspective beforehand, so kind of an interesting change of tack. Grew up in a kind of a council estate in kind of 1980s Ireland. Just by chance got into doing economics business. And from there I went and managed an organic food company, a kind of a very radical organic food company in England, probably one of the biggest and most radical companies there are there. But stepped out of the office one day and we had a supermarket, organic supermarket, and I seen wall-to-wall plastic, and I realised if this is what sustainability means, then we're definitely down the wrong track. That kind of led me into a process of inquiry into what does sustainability actually mean. So I want to talk about like what is a beautiful relationship with the natural world look like, and get away from this idea of kind of this abstract idea of sustainability. So from that point I went, and the process of inquiry led me to see money as a massive issue in our relationship with the natural world. It's the thing that separates us from what we consume. You don't have to have a direct relationship with it. So being the kind of character that I am, I decided that if this is the problem, then I need to experience what life feels without using money. So I wanted to go through 4 seasons to see what it felt like, winter, summer, spring, autumn, what it feels like as a human being to not use money at all. It was quite enlightening in that respect. And I was so happy and so content at the end of that year. The hardest thing was the thought of going back to using money again, which I was not expecting at all. I ended up then doing it for 3 years. I was doing it in England at the time, and I got a real call to come back to my kind of roots in Ireland and back to spend more time with mum and dad. And so I made the shift back here and then set myself up in a small holding in County Galway.
Harmonious friends, let's take time now to contemplate on the God within our hearts. We will return shortly after this brief message. Welcome back to our program as we hear from Mark Boyle, author of The Moneyless Manifesto, Live Well, Live Rich, Live Free. The Moneyless Manifesto is very concrete about how to live without money. As Mark Boyle explains, the key is to strive for unity with nature. There are many intermediate steps to get to a moneyless lifestyle that will increase your resilience without decreasing your happiness in life.
a very basic thing in life is housing and feeding yourself. So I built my own cabin in County Galway. Like, that sounds like you need to be some kind of expert or specialist to do, but I had very little building experience before I started a few years ago. And it really is a case of just deciding what you want to do and just going for it, just asking the neighbours, ask around, read a few books, and then use your common sense. It's the same with food, it's like I didn't grow up knowing how to grow my own food, knowing how to forage, any of that kind of stuff. But it's kind of innate in us as well. We're not given the confidence to know that we can do these things, but we can still do them. So when you actually realise that none of it's rocket science, you develop slowly a confidence in yourself. And as time goes on too, when I started, I felt really insecure about not having money, because money is security in some senses. You've got 10 grand in the bank and you're fine for a few months, wherever. And without that in the bank, you can feel a sense of nothing to fall back on if things go wrong. But what you do find is that over time you regain a trust in the world around you, like a trust in the people, a trust in the landscape. As long as you retain a good relationship with it, then it will look after you, by and large, Like, the natural world is indifferent. Like, it doesn't care if I exist or does. It's not but it's not unkind. If you retain that relationship, it will look after you. It's all about fitting in. It's that Darwinian thing of survival of the fittest. It's actually survival of the fitting innest. Those creatures that fit in most into the landscape will do best. So I set up the small holding where we are now. There's a rent-free farmhouse there where people have been living rent-free. There's a free hostel where people just come and stay, sometimes for a night, sometimes for 2 or 3 weeks. Some people have stayed for 4 or 5 months, if they're nice enough. That was the process, I suppose, in terms of getting the actual small holding. Obviously, what I done was quite extreme for most people. Most people won't want to go completely moneyless. But I think we would all benefit from reducing the reliance on money in our lives.
Mark Boyle began living without money in 2008. He also documented his process, which led to his first book, published in 2010, called The Moneyless Man.
And the day before I started, someone asked me to write a book about the experiences before I'd even spent a day living with it. So the book ended up being a bit of a bestseller, which is quite ironic in many ways. And so I wanted to use the proceeds from that book to set up something within keeping with the philosophy on which I'd done it.
The Moneyless Man relives Mark's first year of living without money, describing why he initially felt compelled to do it and the practical issues he faced. It follows his physical, emotional, and psychological challenges, the liberation he experienced, and how his world perspective changed. Mark Boyle then published the Moneyless Manifesto, offering a more in-depth view on the insights he gained, as well as giving readers guidance on how they too can enjoy the benefits of living with less money. He and his publishers, Permanent Publications, generously decided to publish a free online version of the Moneyless Manifesto. As the author explained,
"First, the ideas and practical tools contained within it should be free to whoever may find them useful. Second, just as actions display our beliefs more honestly than our words, the ways in which ideas and practical tools are shared are at least as important as the words themselves. I wanted the medium to be fully aligned with the message. Third, I wanted to release it under a Creative Commons license because it felt fraudulent to have my name on the front of this book. The ideas in this book could be no more mine than the piece of the earth I inhabit."
With deep gratitude to Mark Boyle for sharing his valuable experiences, we look forward to hearing more from the progressive author next week. For more information on Mark Boyle's books, please visit permanentpublications.co.uk and oneworld-publications.com.